We're getting reports from trusted immigration lawyers and facilitators that Mexico's residency visa rules are changing fast. A popular program for getting residency is being suspended in multiple cities, including San Miguel de Allende, Mexico.
And in other places, the rules are getting stricter. In some cities, they're now saying you can only apply if you haven't left Mexico since 2022, which is a huge change.
If you were planning to apply for residency in Mexico, this could affect your eligibility. In this video, we'll explain what's happening, what we know so far, and what you should do next.
And make sure to watch until the end because we'll also talk about alternative residency options if this program is no longer available.
First, a quick refresher. The RNE program, short for Registro Nacional de Extranjeros, has been a special way for foreigners in Mexico to get temporary residency without having to leave the country.
It's been especially helpful for people who overstayed their tourist visas or had an expired temporary residency and wanted to get their status regularized. Normally, getting residency requires leaving Mexico and applying from a Mexican consulate abroad. But the RNE program allowed certain applicants to skip that step and apply directly from inside of the country.
And that's why it's been so popular. For many, it's been a lifeline, especially for those who may not have qualified for residency through the usual income requirements, which are getting tougher.
But here's the catch. Every INM office in Mexico has handled the program differently. Some locations have been very flexible, while others have been much stricter about who qualifies. In some cities, people were getting approved with very little hassle, while in others, it was more complicated to apply.
And now things are changing even more, possibly for good. So what's changing? Based on reports from immigration lawyers and facilitators across Mexico, the RNE program is being suspended entirely in multiple cities. That means people who are counting on this option to apply for residency may no longer be able to do so.
And in places where the program isn't completely suspended, the rules are getting much stricter. Some INM offices are now requiring that applicants haven't left Mexico since 2022. That's a huge shift because in the past, the only real requirement was proving that you had visited Mexico between 2013 and 2023.
And it's not just San Miguel de Allende. We heard similar reports from several other places around Mexico. Each INM office has its own approach, but the overall trend is clear. This program is disappearing, or at least becoming much harder to access.
And if you're planning to apply through this route, it's important to check with your local INM office immediately because these changes are happening fast and there's no official announcement yet.
So why is this happening? As of right now, there is no official statement from INM, but based on what we've seen and heard, these are a few possibilities.
First, immigration policies in Mexico have been tightening across the board. We've already seen stricter enforcement of tourist visa rules, with more people getting shorter stays or even being denied entry. This could be part of a broader effort to close loopholes and ensure that people go through the standard residency process.
Another possible reason is that the RNE program may have been too inconsistent. Since each INM office handled it differently, some people were getting residency easily, while others were being denied for the exact same application. The government may be trying to standardize the process to make it more uniform nationwide.
And finally, there's a chance that the program was being misused. In some cities, people who didn't actually live in Mexico full-time may have been applying just to get residency status without meeting the true intent of the program. If INM saw a rise in questionable applications, they might have decided to shut it down or make it much harder to qualify.
This is all speculation. Whatever the reason, the bottom line is this: it's critical to look at your other options now. If the RNE program is no longer available or if the new restrictions make you ineligible, fortunately there are still other ways to get residency in Mexico. You just need to be aware of the requirements. As of today, nothing else has changed.
The most common path is the financial solvency route. This is where you apply for a temporary or permanent residency visa at a Mexican consulate outside of Mexico by proving either a steady monthly income or a certain amount of savings in your bank account. The exact financial requirements depend on the consulate, but they've been increasing lately, so it's important to check before you apply. We recently did a video about this. We'll leave a link so you can check it out after watching this one.
Another option is family-based residency. If you have a spouse, child, or even a parent who is a Mexican citizen or a permanent resident, you may qualify for residency through them. This process is done inside Mexico and does not require you to leave the country.
There's also the humanitarian route, which applies in specific situations. If you have a child born in Mexico, for example, you can apply for permanent residency immediately.
And if none of these options work for you, there is always the possibility of starting over with a fresh tourist visa. However, this has risks and we don't recommend it. Immigration officials are getting stricter about back-to-back tourist stays, and some people have already been denied entry for trying to renew their stay this way.
That's why if residency is your goal, you should act sooner rather than later. Don't assume you'll always be able to stay in Mexico indefinitely on a tourist visa, or that alternate residency routes will stay the same.
And before you make any major decision, consult with an immigration lawyer or expert to see which option is best for your situation. So what does this all mean? If you were planning to apply for residency through the RNE program, you need to act quickly. These rules are changing fast, and what's available today may not be an option tomorrow. This window of opportunity is closing quickly.
If you're already in Mexico and were considering applying, check with your local INM office immediately to see if applications are still being accepted under the old rules. If not, you'll need to explore other residency options.
And if you're outside of Mexico and planning to move here, don't assume that these special programs will always be around. Start looking into standard residency routes now, and make sure you meet the financial or family-based requirements before making any big moves.
We'll keep following this story and sharing updates as we learn more. So if you found this video helpful, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any important news.
And if you have any experience with this, if you've applied for the RNE program recently or know someone who has, let us know in the comments. The more information we can share, the better.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.